So he had mentioned this on the old Twitter or the Facebook. This is a deck that he and Jacob Van Lunen had worked on a little bit. Anthony's been dabbling in Chandra Pyromaster decks for the past couple of weeks, looking at like big red strategies, and this is like basically the newest take on it with black instead of some people have been dabbling in red-white for Warriors, Helix, and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's got Thunderman Hellkite. He also goes big with Desecration Demon, but he's got the Vampire Nighthawk and Drafts Messenger at 3. Along with 2 copies of Disciple Bells. Yeah, he's very black heavy because he has 2 copies of Mutilate in his main deck too.
Okay.
So really more of a mono black deck splashing red for Chandra, Pyromancer, Thunderman Hellkite. He's got 3 copies of Keyrune to help with his mana. He also has 2 copies of Rakdos Return. So yeah, mostly a black deck splashing red. He's got 4 Dragon Scale Summit, 4 Blood Crypt, and 3 Rakdos Guildgate to go along with those Keyrunes to kind of help out with the red.
All right, well, he's off to let's say Rosario's off to a good start. He's the one that mulched. He found a Temple Garden off of it. Angel of Serenity in the graveyard here. Both players just doing a little draw go action. Lowry will be the first to the board here with a Rakdos Keyrune, so he can go from 3 to 5. We could see a Thunderman Hellkite show up next turn possibly, as we see Rosario with a Somberwold Sage, a Godless Shrine, and passing the turn back. Sage is a card we'll bring up on the screen for you guys because it has not... Well, it's dead, so we're just going to put that in the graveyard due to Chandra Pyromaster. But it's a card that's seen some play off and on. Brad Nelson kind of took a Grand Prix by surprise with the 0-1 for 3 mana that can add 3 mana for creatures, but Chandra Pyromaster took that bad boy away.
Yeah, and it looks like Rosario did have a Praetor of Behemoth in play, which could have, I guess, come down this turn if the Sage was still in play. But Lowry dealt with it with the Pyromancer, and now he can actually use the 0 ability of Pyromancer to exile the top card of his library if he chooses. So let's see what he wants to do, or does he want to just keep ticking up that Pyromancer? Even though he can't kill the Thragtusk, maybe he wants to try to get it to 7 eventually. So it looks like we're going to have 4 mana, and Desecration Demon is going to come down here. So
your favorite.
Oh, my favorite.
It's your favorite card.
4 mana, 6/6. What's not to love? So Rosario draws his card here. Does he have a creature? If he's able to get a creature into play and tap that demon, he can deal with the Pyromaster this turn. But doesn't look like he. I know he has the Behemoth, which won't be coming into play this turn.
Yeah, it's not yet for the Behemoth.
Not
There's
yet.
An Overgrown Tomb coming to play on tap, and he looks like he's got all of his colors of mana.
So 6 mana. Are we going to see Mimic, perhaps? Ooh, Progenitor Mimic.
I feel like we have a wow. Okay, so God, this card too. This card's so powerful. What is he gonna copy with that? Yeah.
So it looks like the ability is on the stack, and he's gonna.
Well, it should be an as you come into play, right? You may have this come in as a copy of any creature.
Oh, maybe he targeted the Desecration Demon.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he might have targeted the Desecration Demon there.
Either way, that thing is dead for now. But boy, that's one of my favorite cards from the last couple of sets here. You see, Chandra's going to turn over a Victim of Night that can be cast, not free of course, but it can be cast there thanks to the Pyromaster.
I might as well deal with that Thragtusk.
And we do have confirmation he did Rosario. He did copy, or at least try to copy, Desecration Demon. So in for 6 does come the big demon.
Yeah, Anthony's deck is looking pretty impressive right here. He's in firm control, active Pyromancer, plenty of mana, a Desecration Demon in play. He has a lot of removal spells. Looks like he has a Disciple Bowls too, so he can potentially draw 6 cards this turn if he chooses to.
Yeah, this is the engine that a lot of people are moving towards now, and I feel like engine is actually the appropriate word of Desecration Demon plus Disciple Bowls. It's a 6 card, 6 life, and you probably get a hit in too. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the engine that people have moved towards at the back end of this format, and it seems as though people are seeing a lot of success. Like, it's not this thing where you have to play 4 of each and hope to put them together, but incidentally, Desecration Demon just happens to be a big efficient creature that makes the opponent play the game a little bit differently, and then Disciple is like this utility guy that you're not going to play 4 if you're going to play like 1 to 2 copies of it, but when it comes together, it's actually quite good.
Yeah, because if you do get a hit in with Desecration Demon, you hit him for 6. If you don't, it means they tapped it and you get a +1 counter, so you're drawing 7 cards instead of 6. So yeah, Disciple Bowls definitely works well with Desecration Demon, and it looks like that's what we're going to see here. Yep. Desecration Demon
Thumbs
comes
up.
down, and it looks like Anthony's going to draw 6. He still has that Keyrune in play and mana to activate it, so that's holding back the Thragtusk.
And he can also, if he wants the Victim of Night, he can still do that too. It looks like he's drawn a Rakdos Return among these 6 cards, so you see him Mutilate as well. So this, the fact that a black deck be it red-black, be it green-black like Jeff Hoogan was playing or what have you, actually kind of has a draw engine outside of Underworld Connections that can actually draw a lot of cards, gain a bunch of life. People are kind of saying it's like a Sphinx's Revelation. It's pretty powerful for them to have that sort of access to that sort of strategy.
Yeah, this color combination should not be drawing the amount of cards that Anthony is. So
Yeah.
whenever they are, it just means that they're going to start doing some pretty abusive things with either the removal spells they have or, hand disruption.
I wonder if he's going to cast that victim. Okay, he is. He's going to cast the victim to take care of that. Does open himself to getting maybe on barrel rights or something of that nature, but I still think you want to use it since it's free.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of like a trap there because now what is he going to do if William attacks with the beast and attacks the Chandra? I mean, do you do chump block? Do you just take it? I mean, the Keyruin was holding him back,
Sure.
So, granted it's a free spell, but you didn't really use anything. You just it was a 0, but if you're Chandra. So I'm not really sure you needed to cast it. Now you're basically just losing 3 counters. Or you
just
chump
chump block,
blocking.
yeah.
So okay.
Losing a 2-1 then. So there is another Somberworld Sage, which is going to just eat it immediately.
Maybe his plan was just to mutilate this turn anyway. So
He discarded Mutilate, though. He discarded
did
Mutilate
he?
to having a card. So, yeah, Chandra's going to take care of that. One's going to go upstairs to Rosario as well.
you see a Rakdos return, perhaps, or
Rakdos Return would be pretty gosh darn
I'm not
good
sure
right
how many
now.
cards William has in his
I think
hand.
he just has 2.
Just
Yeah,
two
he's
cards,
got Crater of Behemoth. He's got Crater of Behemoth and Angel of Serenity are the 2 cards in his hand.
So it doesn't look like Anthony played his land for turn, so he should be able to Rakdos return for 2 and cast the Desecration Demon if he chooses.
That's a good turn. I would do that.
Seems like an efficient use of your mana and spells.
I would do that given the option. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Are we going to lead with Desecration Demon?
It looks to be the case.
Interesting. Okay.
I think you got to return here. I really do.
Are we wrong? That is a return, right?
Yeah, that's
so
a
now
return. Okay, so there it is.
So now he's that seems like the sequencing is a little off here.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, it ended up not mattering. As you see, the Behemoth and the Serenity are going to go to the graveyard. But the thing I was curious if is you're actually going to pull the trigger on the return, because you could make the argument of I'll just do a big return later. But yeah, you want to pull the trigger, get those last 2 cards out of hand. That's what he did.
The only reason you might want to wait on the return is if you know he's an Burial Rights deck. If an Burial Rights and an Angel Serenity can maybe pull William right back into this.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were able to kill the Angel and then Rakdos return, it won't matter. But again, you can't really play around on Burial Rights.
So see, it looks like Chandra's going to be going up again maybe here. Might be free card mode, not sure.
Yeah, it's almost that. I believe the ultimate's 7, and I think the ultimate is you get to reveal the top 7 cards, or you exile the top 7 cards and you can cast the spell.
The ultimate's garbage. I've said it. I don't,
it's not very
mind.
good. Exile the top 10 cards, and you could choose a sorcery card or an instant and cast it 3 times. Yeah, not the best.
I'm just going to put it out there. I don't hold back.
It's not very good in this deck in particular.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, you need it like in a red deck that can actually deal some damage or something. Or
I can cast Tragic Slip 3 times.
yeah. Rakdos return for 0 3 times. Yeah. It's not the best I've ever seen it, but it's like a little utility card here.
If you ever need to kill in a macro, you can cast Mutilate 3 times. So in the weird situation.
Yeah. How an Emrakul got into your standard deck, I don't know. We'll ask those questions later. We know that Thundermaw Hellkite is here for now. You see Anthony's going to move to the attack step, say, do you want to sacrifice the Desecration Demon? Rosario says, yeah, I don't want to take 11 this turn. I'll just take 5. And Rosario's going to go down to 8. We think he might have a Restoration Angel in his hand right now to block with. He's going to give that a thumbs up. So down to 8 does go Rosario. Looks like that's going to be it for Mr. Lowry's turn, potentially.
He's going to tick it up and pass turn back. I would feel really silly if that ultimate ended up playing a huge role.
Yeah, it won't be the first time we've been wrong. That's for sure.
So William with 1 card in his hand facing 12 points of power on the other side, along with an active Chandra.
Yeah, and don't forget about those 2 key runes too.
Yeah.
Those can get in. And there's a Mutavault in the lands. It's gonna be tough. Sign in Blood. Get some more cards. We're gonna confirm our life totals for you guys, as those have been moving around quite a bit here. So as soon as those are updated for you, we'll make sure we got everything correct and kosher.
So here comes a Restoration Angel. That could technically keep the Desecration Demon at bay for another turn.
Zarya's going to draw a card for his turn. We'll see what he finds.
What can he really do here? Progenitor Mimic? I mean, it pretty much needs an Umbrella Rights here, I believe.
And you see he's going to take a look at Chandra, see exactly what the ultimate is, and he's going to concede the game. So Anthony Lowry is going to be up a game here over William Rosario with this black-red mid-range deck.
So the ultimate did play a role in that William read the ability and then conceded. So
Yeah. He just wanted to make sure he knew what it did.
All right, let me just see what that ultimate does. Okay.
So 4-color Reanimator, a deck that we have. I mean, this is not your Angel of Glorious Rise deck either. This is a 4-color good card deck. I mean, we've got. We're just gonna run down the deck list for you: 3 Absence Pilgrim, 2 Arbor Elf, an Elvish Mystic, 3 Summerwald Sage. Then you got like your awesome creatures and Restoration Angel, Thragtusk, Shadowborn Demon, Acidic Slime, Progenitor Mimic in varying numbers, along with Angel of Serenity and Crater of Behemoth. Then you got your spells that kind of tie everything together in 4 Grizzly Salvage, 2 Mulch, 1 Tracker's Instincts, and of course you can't forget about the Unburial Rites times 4, and then kind of a Miser Sever the Bloodline. We go to the sideboard here. Can't imagine that he has anything that says, I'm here to beat your black-red deck that I've never seen before. But 1 Rare Revelation, 3 Liliana Veil. I'm going to come back to this one in a minute. 2 Bloodbearer of Vescopa, 1 Evil Twin, 1 Notion Thief, 1 Rock's Faithmender, 1 Tristani, Selesnian's Voice, an Acidic Slime, a Shadowborn Demon, 2 Lavinia of the 10th, which I didn't think I would see today, and 1 Subcurial Primordial. Oh, Sid, what do you think is going to board in? I'm putting it on you.
Well, I like Lavinia because, I mean, we'll bring up Lavinia in a second, but it's basically, it's a 4 for protection from red, so, you know, it dodges, I mean, he didn't see any red removal, but, you know, it dodges Mizzia Mortars, so you don't really know exactly what removal Anthony has, but the cool thing is that it detains all non-land permanents with converted mana cost 4 or less. So it would detain those Desecration Demons, it detains all those key runes, it detains Vampire Nighthawk, Jara's Messenger. So if you get a Lavinia in play and then maybe you get a Mimic going, you know, you can basically start shutting down Anthony's side of the board. You know, obviously he has plenty of removal to deal with Lavinia, but that might be one of the ways you can backdoor into a win. Because really there's not that much else that William has. I think that he has, you know, the Blood Baron, obviously you kind of want to bring that in because you're playing against a mono black deck, but Anthony still has answers in Mutilate. So after board though, Anthony has like 1 copy of Barter and Blood, 1 Encroaching Waste, 2 Illness in the Ranks, 1 Rakdos Return, which is he board up to 3, another copy of Mutilate, 2 Rakdos Charms, 2 Demonic Risings, which interesting card. We see, I think we see a couple of them in Demonic and Desecration Demon.
They're starting to pop up. They are.
2 Liliana Veils, 1 Olivia, and 2 Underworld Connections. Olivia is the one card that really jumps out to me as something that he probably wants. But beyond that, I mean, I don't know. Anthony knows really what he's playing against yet. I mean, he obviously 4-color Reanimator. You can expect to see, you know, Thragtusk, Angel of Serenity, Progenitor Mimic. You already saw those cards, but like, are you going to expect to see a Lavinia? Are you going to expect to see a Blood Baron? Like, if you know he's bringing in Blood Baron, I think you're bringing Mutilate. But otherwise, you know, maybe you keep out the Mutilate because you just don't need it against a Reanimator deck. I don't know, but I would say he's probably going to hedge and bring in that Mutilate. He's probably going to bring another Rakdos Return, and he's probably going to bring in Olivia. Beyond that, though, I don't really think he needs any of the other cards in his sideboard. And in his main deck, you know, he has Jara's Messenger, which probably isn't that great, but it works well with Disciple of Bolas, so I don't know if you maybe want to board those out. Vampire Nighthawk, though, is probably the weakest in this matchup.
Yeah, I think Vampire Nighthawk is very weak. I mean, we're in a Haymaker matchup here. You know, you want to be every spell that you're casting, you want it to just be a big-time effect.
Exactly.
And that is not what Vampire Nighthawk is at all, nor is it going to actually put the brakes on anything Rosario is really doing here. Funny that you bring up the interaction between Lavinia and Progenitor Mimic, just because with the way the Legend rule is now, it kind of actually changes things. Where the prior Legend rule, if you were to clone it, it would actually be a removal spell, but now your Progenitor Mimic clones a Lavinia, the original Lavinia dies, Progenitor Mimic will be a Lavinia, and then what will happen is every upkeep you make a Lavinia, you keep the Progenitor Mimic version of it, you sacrifice the token version, but because the token comes into play as Lavinia, the enters the battlefield trigger actually is going to happen. So if you're looking to build a Lavinia lock deck,
yeah,
you actually can, which is crazy, but that can actually be a thing that works in your favor.
It's a random way that you can sort of back into detaining all of Anthony's side of the board.
Yeah.
Again, Anthony does have, you know, Mutilate. He does have Doomblade and 2 copies of Victim Might that can deal with Lavinia, but that's, you know, that's really only 5 cards. You know, he has 3 copies of Tragic Slip, but if he doesn't have a way to kill the creatures, which they're not going to be trading in combat because all your guys are detained, then, you know, maybe Lavinia can actually do the work. And Lavinia also detains Olivia. Yep. So, and it can't be targeted by Olivia either because it's protection from red. So, Could be an interesting strategy. Let's see if it works out for him.
We'll see. Anthony's going to take at least one mulligan here. He's going to go down to 6, represent his deck. If you guys are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Osip Lebedovich, here at Star City Games Open Series, has made its way to Philadelphia. Of course, you can join us on Twitter at SCG Live, hashtag SCGPHL. We'll be here all weekend long, 9 rounds of Standard in round 3 right now. And don't forget about our Legacy tournament tomorrow as well, as we're going to see Mr. Rosario start off with a breeding pool into an Avacyn's Pilgrim to get game 2 underway.
So he has all 3 of his 4 mana available, green, blue, and white on turn 2 now.
Oh.
And here is a Woodland Cemetery. So perfect mana. He has access to the rainbow currently.
Doing it well, as he's got a turn 2 Summerworld Sage. I don't know if that's going to live. It's not. That's a good thing to Doomblade. So no broken acceleration here for Rosario, even though he does have most of his colors online. You see, I think he's got a Grizzly Salvage in his hand too.
He also has, looks like he has 2 copies of Unburial Rites, which are, obviously work well with Grizzly Salvage. But so now he can start to dig for lands. Wow, great Grizzly Salvage there. He's able to hit 2 Thragtusk and a Angel Serenity along with another Unburial Rites. And he does get the land.
He's going to play this on tap too, so it looks like he's got even a little more fun to do here, as he's going to play an Avacyn's Pilgrim and he can get in for 1. So that's a fantastic turn 3 for Rosario. Really, really good.
Yeah, great turn there. Rosario likely to, if all things go according to plan, he can cast Unburial Rites, target an Angel Serenity, and rebuy some of those Thragtuskities. Interesting, Anthony decided to just downtick the Liliana, which is probably going to just die now. It could die to the Avacyn Pilgrim, but it doesn't look like William drew another land, so he's just going to be forced to cast Flashback the Unburial Rites and get back those Thragtusk along with another Avacyn Pilgrim. So Anthony a little fortunate there, because it looks like his Liliana will at least survive another turn. But again, not really in great shape facing down a turn 4 Angel Serenity.
So it's time to untap here for Mr. Lowry. You see a Chandra, and as good as that Pyromaster is, Angel Serenity does not quite care about it. You can see a Dragon Skull Summon. You also see, Desecration Demon, which is bigger than Angel Serenity, oddly enough.
Well, this is interesting here, because Anthony can actually cast a Chandra, kill the Avacyn Pilgrim, which is great because William was already stalled on mana, and then he can uptick Liliana. At this point, William is basically forced to attack Liliana, which means Chandra will be in play, giving him a 0 activation of it next turn to dig for another removal spell for the Angel Serenity. Okay. And obviously Angel is great because he's going to be able to rebuy those 3 creatures that are under it, but he's stalled on mana.
Yeah, if he doesn't have the mana, it doesn't matter.
So I think if Anthony takes this line and plays a Chandra here and sort of pings down the elf, I think he's in pretty good shape.
You see Liliana started up, discarding a Unburial Rites for Rosario, and you see the Mutilate go to the graveyard here for Lowry. So he's certainly in some trouble here, but I actually like the game plan that you've crafted, which is, Chandra takes care of the Avacyn's Pilgrim and it puts Rosario to a decision on what he wants to do.
Yeah, and the fact that he uptick first, now he knows another Unburial Rites is in the graveyard. He missed his land drop. I have to kill that elf now.
Yep.
If he draws another land and he's able to Unburial Rites something, which really there's nothing in his graveyard he can, it doesn't really matter. I have to get rid of that elf now.
So there is the Pyromaster. Comes into play, takes care of that Avacyn's Pilgrim. You see that Rosario does rip off an overgrown tomb, so mana's not going to be much of an issue for him any longer. But again, I agree with you. I think that you look towards the short term, and you make that play, and hopefully things work out for you. I think it does give yourself a very good opportunity to win the game. It's now here is a Grizzly Salvage from Rosario, so we'll look at 5 cards off the top for him in the form of Sunpetal Grove, Unburial Rites, Thragtusk, Forest, and a Temple Garden. So no more issues here as far as mana is concerned, and things to do.
So, what do you get here? I think I'd probably just take a mana.
I think I just want some sort of land. He can't take Sunpetal Grove as opposed to Temple Garden just because it'll come into play untapped. They're basically the same card at this point.
And it looks like he might have a mulch. I'm not sure if that's a mulch, but it looks like he has another green card. So it might be another graveyard filler. But it looks like he's going to take a Sunpetal Grove. He gets another Thragtusk in his graveyard. And we're going to attack. Are we going to attack Liliana? Looks like yes, Liliana is going to go down. So Chandra stays in play.
There's your Sunpetal Grove, 2 mana.
And
there's
then
your
Tracker's
Instincts. Okay, that's a 1-of in his deck. So we'll take a look at these cards. There's a Breeding Pool, a Restoration Angel, a Cavern of Souls, a Cavern of Souls. So Resto going to go to the hand. Land's going to go to the bin.
And William does have an Overgrown Tomb in his hand, so he can cast a Thragtusk next turn if Anthony is able to find an answer.
There's your reveal.
Angel Serenity.
Swamp going to come into play. You see Thundermaw Hellkite too. in Lowry's hands. So maybe this is a racing situation. Rosario sitting at 15.
I like it. I mean, granted, he's going to get a Thragtusk in play, but your other option here is basically just play a Desecration Demon, which is fine. You play Desecration Demon. William's not able to attack with his Angel Serenity anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, right? Because the problem here is that Desecration Demon is kind of hurting him, I think. Ooh, he's going to cast Sign in Blood. Wow, I was a little surprised of the options that turn, that being the one that he's going to choose. Hit 1, Underworld Connections, hit 2.
He's a Victim of the Night.
Okay, Victim of Night. You can make the argument, okay, Thundermaw Hellkite, let's get in, let's have a racing situation, versus you can play Desecration Demon. I think Desecration Demon is a lot more risky. The reason for that is he plays it, and let's say that Rosario just casts a Thragtusk, then sacrifices it, gets it with the Angel of Serenity. Lowry's got a 7/7, and then we can just go, okay, and he gained 5 life, of course, then he just Unbarrel Writes the Thragtusk back, kind of has Desecration Demon locked at that point.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I love the Thundermaw play because, one, you drop William to 10, okay? If he plays the Thragtusk, that's fine. He goes up to 15, but you can drop him to 10 again next turn. And the thing is, he has the Angel Serenity, but he still can't attack you with it because he has to deal with that Chandra. So you can cast why don't you just cast the Sign in Blood next turn to try to draw a removal spell?
Sure.
I don't know why you have to cast the Destiny, because if you cast the Thundermaw Hellkite that turn, then if you cast Sign in Blood on your turn, maybe you draw another land and you can go Desecration Demon that turn. So you're maximizing your mana. Now he's in a really awkward position. What is he going to do? And I'm actually surprised he didn't Victim of the Night the Angel Serenity to keep his Chandra in play for another turn. I mean, he's got at least a Thragtusk in his hand because he has an Unburial Rights in his graveyard.
Yeah.
So he can actually get it back that way if he wants. So a Thragtusk is probably coming into play. I just think that it's unfortunate because he's just sequencing this a little awkwardly because I don't think he even cast anything last turn.
Yeah, I mean, all he did was cast a Sign in Blood and pass, and then he didn't cast the Victim of Night on Rosario's turn, so his Chandra bit the dust. Thragtusk came into play via Unburial Rights being flashed back, so he does gain his 5 life, gets his 5/3. But the issue here is I'm not really exactly sure what Lowry's game plan is.
Is he trying to play for a Mutilate here, or
see a draw? It's a Key Rune and Desecration
Demon.
But he's
just too far behind.
Yeah, he's paying life to draw cards, and he's not getting anything on the board. And he gets himself in this situation now where I don't think he can overcome this because he doesn't have anything on the board, and now he just has to pass the turn back, which is just, again, I just don't think that he's actually crafted a game plan. What is he looking to sign blood into? It
doesn't seem like he's really thinking about how am I going to win this game. He's thinking more like how can I survive. And once you start thinking about that, you can't think of that mindset. You can't think of the mindset of how am I going to survive when you have a card like Thundermaw, which can turn things around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You should be thinking about, okay, how is this going to help me win the game?
Yeah. Because you know that as a player, especially in this game, you're going to have to overcome that Angel of Serenity and the things that are coming back from